So when you think about payments, I don't know, 15, 25, even 30 years from now, I mean, what are you imagining will look completely different?
Yes, the crystal ball moment. I think immediately what kind of comes to mind is that payments become invisible.
Mm.
What I mean by that is instead of me being the consumer taking a step or taking an action to pay an invoice, it'll be action free and transactions will just settle.
Mm.
When you think about tolling, your vehicle biometrics, your digital identity, or a combination of those technologies will be your digital wallet and communicate with things like road infrastructure to execute payments without having to take any action. That becomes convenient when traveling across like agency roads. And when that happens, I think we truly kind of reach that national interoperability.
This episode is brought to you by CSG. CSG's SaaS solutions optimize every step of the tolling journey, from billing and payments to customer engagement, helping agencies maximize revenue through smarter, more integrated experiences. Make more, save more, and do more. Visit csgi.com. Welcome to Toll Talk, the podcast dedicated to the tolling industry and providing professionals like you with the insights that you need to understand what's happening in the tolling and transportation industry. We bring you the greatest of interviews, the most innovative and inspiring people that help lead this industry to help you bring you some of the latest insights and technologies that are evolving the transportation landscape. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get into the show.
Yes, hello. I'm Kalie Jakovics. I'm one of your hosts.
And I'm Alex Fakeri.
And today we have a great episode with Luis Guzman, the Senior Sales Executive, Strategic Partnerships at CSG. Luis, thanks so much for joining today.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have another CSG member.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interviewed here. We always love bringing, and learning more, sharing with our viewers what you guys do. So
absolutely, and appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before we get too far into it, we like our viewers to hear a little bit about your journey. What brought you into the world of strategic partnerships and payments at CSG?
And even tolling, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. I've been hooked on payments since the late '90s, starting at an online bill pay company called Paytrust.com in Princeton, New Jersey. And over the decades, I've seen the industry evolve from like basic digital transactions to today's complex strategic ecosystem. And I love every bit of it. Throughout my career, I've sat in almost every seat at the table, from payment operations to sales and business development. I officially joined CSG through an acquisition and am excited to be close to my 2-year anniversary coming this June.
Oh, wow.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And really, my mission here at CSG is to move beyond simple vendor relationships and instead truly build strategic partnerships that create real measurable value for everyone involved.
Yeah.
I love that you said you've been hooked on payments. Not many people say that. I love that. And you've, with your experience over the years, you've seen this evolve, into what it is today. So we're excited to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. And payments affect so many people. And I think now with the evolution of the internet and technologies and the demand of customers to have a plethora of different options, I bet you it's a challenge. It's like an exciting puzzle to solve, I would imagine.
I think you said it perfectly. It's very exciting. The technology and payments is constantly evolving, constantly changing. There's always new payment rails. There's always new applications that provide like a seamless experience. And at CSG, we take a lot of pride in kind of putting all that together.
So, Luis, for those who aren't familiar, can you maybe talk about how CSG fits into the payments and the customer landscape today?
Absolutely. I would say CSG sits right at the intersection of payments and the customer experience. We're a leader in customer engagement and payments. and we help hundreds of major brands from telcos and insurance companies to governments and tolling authorities. We manage billions of customer interactions every year. In a lot of those interactions, there's a payment at the end of that conversation. And that's where our payments platform comes in to help turn that engagement into a fast, secure, seamless payment experience so the customer journey feels connected from start to end.
Love it. Love it. That's great. Now, when you look at the experiences, as payments, part of the customer experience, what excites you the most about where we're headed, as a society and an industry?
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. Like I mentioned, there's always new technologies. There's always emerging payment rails. One that I'll kind of focus on is we hear AI a lot, and at CSG we're all in. We're embedding AI into the customer journey. We'll be using AI to create these like payment orchestration pathways, making the payment more conversational instead of going to different screens, pressing different buttons. I think that truly makes the customer experience, and particularly the payment experience, more of a value-added service instead of a friction point, which traditionally has been the case.
That's right.
Yeah, and involving AI. I mean, you've got to do it.
It-
uh,
It's incredible. I think the future is going to be pretty bright, being able to kind of weave all these technologies into platforms.
Absolutely. So when you think about payments, I don't know, 15, 25, even 30 years from now, I mean, what are you imagining will look completely different?
Yes, the crystal ball moment. I think immediately what kind of comes to mind is that payments become invisible. What I mean by that is instead of me being the consumer taking a step or taking an action to pay an invoice, it'll be action free and transactions will just settle. When you think about tolling, your vehicle biometrics, your digital identity, or a combination of those technologies will be your digital wallet and communicate with things like road infrastructure to execute payments without having to take any action. That becomes convenient when traveling across like agency roads. And when that happens, I think we truly kind of reach that national interoperability.
Yeah. I recently took a trip up to New Jersey from Maryland. And as I drove up, I was driving with confidence because I understood that my, Easy Pass, just, as far as a form of payment was,
Right.
interoperable. I could go through, the state lines, didn't have to worry about anything. And there was that peace of mind. And the only thing that I would see later on in a month or whatever it was, or, we replenished your account. Right. And so, I start to wonder if you think of like utility companies, right? You can pay your utility bill, your phone with a text message, right? So I'm kind of wondering, do you think there's an intermittent area where we're doing, using AI to, if the consumer confidence is there to say, hey, go ahead and pay my BGE bill, right? And you just say it, or you say, pay my toll, replenish my toll account, and you speak it into existence.
Yeah, I think that's partially happening today. You can set up, there's solutions even at CSG that we have where you can set up these parameters, right?
Right.
And you can, with confidence, when a bill comes in, just make the payment, kind of like recurring payment rules, things like that. So some of that is happening today. But AI will take it a step further with like better notifications saying your bill's due in like 3 days. We have something like that similar today, but I think the way AI will change that will be a little bit more seamless than what's in today's kind of environment.
And with that, I mean, how do you see the future years from now with the banks, merchant providers, technology companies? How are they going to evolve within this ecosystem?
A great question. I see the ecosystem becoming more cooperative, more integrated, driven by data, AI, biometrics, and really whatever other technologies come down the road. I think gone are the days where banks viewed fintechs as kind of as disruptors,
Mm.
realizing we're more enablers of services that help all actors in the industry deliver meaningful strategic solutions to consumers, agencies, merchants, and everyone else involved.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? What's setting the foundation for the next big shift? Really, like if you think of the whether it be the technology, but you have these guardrails or digital rails that when you think about real time payments, how what is setting the stage? What is the underlying technology or policies that's supporting the next big shift?
Yeah, so next big shift, a couple of thoughts there. One from kind of like an industry perspective. Consolidation, cooperation is already a trend that we're seeing more of, and I see that continuing and increasing for, again, all the actors in the payment space. That those partnerships create opportunities to leverage like anonymized data
Mm,
across networks to provide better end user experiences. The ability to create like white labeling of, for example, fraud solutions, allowing for greater amounts of data to inform like risk management tools and
sure.
fraud monitoring tools. So I really see the cooperation continuing to just grow and really be natural when you're looking at delivering new services. From a consumer perspective, we're talking about payment rails. Yes, like same day ACH payments will be there. Real-time payment networks, FedNow, RTP. Visa and MasterCard have a version of instant payments. Digital wallets will continue to increase, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and everything else that's out there. I think just as importantly, embedded payments and embedded finance
Mm,
create a foundation for transparent, scalable customer experiences and payment solutions. Um, Also, I think stable coins are getting
yeah.
interesting,
There you go.
potentially opening up some cross-border payments with neighboring agencies in the north and south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love everything you're sharing and having a payments expert so we can kind of walk through everything here. Um, in a digital first world, I mean, what really makes that great payment experience stand out?
In a digital first world, the best payment experiences are the ones you barely notice, right? They're
Mm,
simple, they're fast, and trustworthy. So simple meaning the customer always knows what they owe, when it's due, and how to pay through whatever channel works for them, like online, mobile, or through a link that's sent to a mobile device.
yeah.
Fast meaning, there's no extra hoops, no confusing redirects. And the best thing that can happen is a payment confirmation shows up right away. Trust is huge, right? So
Yeah.
behind the scenes, you have to have strong companion services so consumers feel safe storing payment information and then using features like auto pay.
Right.
Where CSG comes in is helping our clients kind of stitch all that together. Using tools like paymentsprotection.ai, that's a new tool that we just introduced that helps keep fraud in check with the power of AI. Providing a robust ACH account verification and name authentication service on bank accounts. You want to make sure you're meeting your ACH operating rules and guidelines,
Yep.
and doing all that while still giving the end user that clean, low friction, it just works payment moment.
Yeah. What you're saying kind of, I think, is truly what embodies and sets CSG apart and it's Mojo's focus as well. And that is, we're in the relationship building, the trust building process, and we're here to expedite that, right? And kind of at the end of the day. So I'm just kind of curious when you're talking about expanding that use, how do strong relationships between the banks and the various solutions that are out there actually shape the long-term success? Is it more expeditious, new rollouts of technology? Is it, is there a benefit to the customer? Like, how do those relationships matter? Why do they matter so much?
Yeah, I'll continue my theme of like relationships, partnerships. They're everything now and in the future. When banks, tolling agencies, merchants, solution providers like
Yeah.
CSG, excuse me, trust each other, you're going to get smarter product decisions.
There you go.
You're gonna have faster innovation, and you're gonna have a more consistent experience for the end user. An example of that is we work with banks, and we pair up their merchant services with our payments protection AI solution. Again, that helps to keep fraud in check
Right.
using the power of AI. We also layer in services like ACH account verification and name authentication. Over time, those relationships result in better economics, lower risk and fraud exposure, and a payment experience customers actually want to keep using.
Right.
Now a message from our sponsor.
The business of tolling is complex. Trusted by the world's most respected brands, CSG transforms every customer interaction, communications, billing, payments, and more into a smarter, more profitable outcome. Make more, save more, do more. CSG, solving tolling's toughest challenges simply.
Yeah, and I also kind of want to touch on the RFP process a little bit. This is kind
The
of
RFPs.
yeah,
RFP process, man. Yeah.
a huge topic. So, I mean, payments are often getting rolled into broader RFPs, right? Such as those for billing or back office systems. Why
Yep.
can that be so limiting?
Yeah, the RFP process is pretty challenging in tolling. But actually, we've started to see a little bit of a shift where like payments and merchant services are being their own RFP, which is great.
Yeah.
And I hope that trend continues, but there's still some challenges with that. For example, like a prerequisite to bidding on an RFP is an existing integration with like their current back end service provider, right?
Sure.
And if you don't have that integration, you're trying your hardest to develop that partnership in parallel
Right.
Yes.
to bidding on the RFP, right? So, that must have integration immediately can eliminate a number of service providers from bidding on the RFP.
Yeah.
And when I go to the IBTTA Tech Show here, I'm going to talk to a few agencies, and my recommendation would be for the agency to inform that back office service provider that as part of the RFP, potentially there's an integration with a new payment provider, and to include that in the project scope.
Yeah.
I think that ensures that the agency receives the best technology, the best pricing, and the best payment experience for the consumer.
Yeah. It's not limiting them to see what technologies are out there. So that would be
Yeah,
huge.
if you eliminate half of the providers that don't have an integration with that back end service, then you're really limiting yourself in terms of technology and pricing.
And the challenge is, I mean, for these agencies, they need to, we hope they consider is really the question is that when you're basically you can either bring in one person, one organization to bring in the entire suite and respond to the RFP, or you go to the old tried and true phrase of, the best of breed approach, right? And, that has its value. And we understand why from a management and resource allocation, because some of these teams are relatively small at the agency level. And so when they bring in these partners, they're bringing in a whole team behind them. And so it's always that I understand, I hear your pain loud and clear. It's, do you bring in that one vendor for that one aspect of it? I mean, that's a world we live in every single day, as you do as well. And it's, there's great value in it, but again, balancing the partnership as well as the execution, because you're an organization that is a subject matter expert. For the quick reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, what you just said resonates with me a lot. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to continue those conversations I mentioned at the tech show coming up, and kind of hearing some feedback on. There's a few other recommendations I want to make, but I think that one's the main one. So kind of getting their feedback and gladly share it with the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about digital payment and specifically the gateways, because you mentioned the wallets and the efficiencies there. And I'm thinking, how do you see the digital gateways and payment rails evolving in the next decade, right? Like we talked about the future of it, but of payments, but specifically the gateways. I'm kind of curious from that aspect of it.
Yeah, the digital payment gateway, it's an interesting opportunity. It's a topic that I hear at almost every IBTTA event. If I look at it from my perspective, my vision for like a digital payment gateway is deploying a multi-tenant platform that provides agencies, back office service providers, other service providers, and really any actor in the industry, a single integration point that can truly achieve economies of scale. That single integration point can provide multiple ways for consumers and agencies to accept and make payments.
I appreciate that. And I think those opportunities are abundant now. I don't want to dig too deep into this, but I do have to ask, as far as, you think of people's, I don't want to generically say banked and unbanked, right? But with all the different options of paying, I mean, what are the biggest challenges you face as an organization to keep, everybody provide that inclusivity, right, of the socioeconomics as well as the payment diversity types and, the way of life everybody lives?
Yeah, and agencies are feeling that pain too. They're under a lot of pressure from legislators to kind of meet those equity mandates.
Yeah.
One of the big challenges that is out there, but I think we're moving to a point where we've got pretty good solutions around it, is around cash. How to accept cash to load digital accounts, pay an invoice. So having solutions that kind of enable cash payments is critical in serving the unbanked and underserved community. I also think awareness and education, that's a tough topic to kind of tackle, but sharing with the consumer base that there are cash options available if you choose to pay that way, but also there's traditional methods like card and ACH and digital wallets. I mean, digital wallets has really kind of opened the door for unbanked and underserved communities where they're using Apple Pay, PayPal, Venmo, and some of the other ones.
So many options.
So being able to really kind of communicate that that's out there and available for you to make a payment, to top up your account, I think will go a long way. It's just how do we get that message out there?
Yeah.
Right.
I think with any good, it's going to be frequency, consistency, but with the whole purpose of, if you don't get it out there, they're going to, the user is in their one track mind, right? From, this is my world, these are my four walls, and this is where I live. And so I think it is a responsibility of the agencies, as well as not just the vendors, right? To say, here's this better way of life we can give your customers. I mean, that's how I feel about it,
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Also for, digital payment gateways for consumers first, meet them in their preferred environment, whether it's mobile, online, IVR, kiosks, provide the consumer multiple ways to make a payment. Within this digital payment gateway, you're going to have your traditional rails like ACH and card, but you're also going to have digital wallets, right? Which make it really easy and convenient to submit a payment. And part of the digital payment gateway, as new technologies and solutions emerge, those can be added, right? So it's a cloud environment. It's basically once something comes up, let's say there's a new digital wallet that's being that's experiencing a lot of growth, we can enable it, flip the switch, and then it becomes available to everyone that's part of that digital payment gateway.
Ooh, I love that. And you're opening it up to everybody, so it's easy, right? And people get paid. So
open it to everyone, right?
Yes,
so multi-tenant platform,
super easy.
Your agencies, your back office providers, and really any actor that's part of the industry can connect to this digital payment gateway, have access to all those payment methods, and be able to not only serve the consumer, but also the digital payment gateway can act as a settlement feature for, interagency settlements when they're
Yeah.
traveling out of state and they have to send funds over to kind of cover that. Sending payments through that digital payment gateway would be a win as well.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what agencies need to, and they probably do realize this, we're not probably saying something they don't know already, but, if you can ease the payment options, the collections, the management, the staffing, the technology, all the other investments you have to make to support that, go down, right? Like it's an inherent efficiency, and ultimately customer satisfaction. Obviously we want to flip that and prioritize the customer first, which I think is inherently there. But it just does bring, give them the way they want to pay. They want to pay by Bitcoin, let them pay by Bitcoin. That's a little extreme, but you know what I'm talking about.
We'll start with stable coins first. And
yeah. There you go.
OCC defines stable coins, and we'll keep an eye on that. But to your point, having all that within a digital payment gateway is just going to make life easier for everyone.
Well,
honestly,
Luis, go ahead.
I can set up a digital payment gateway today. And work with agencies. I can work with back office providers, even set up like testing. To just be able to have every agency as part of a digital payment gateway, being able to talk to each other, being able to send funds back and forth, data with those funds to be able to post and really aim for straight through processing so that there's less manual intervention on there.
Yeah.
All those things can be deployed today.
When you take a look at those payment options that are available, and when you can rapidly, like you said, I love that you said that you can rapidly deploy them. I think in the end, if the agencies, if you can remove as many of the hurdles that they have to deal with in the decision-making process, I would assume that you're also providing another intangible value of streamlining the process for them to manage, and that's got to be a value. Is anything anecdotally you could do to validate that, that thought process for me when you work with the agencies?
Absolutely. So a real world example is when I met with an agency, they mentioned that they settle with other agencies using a spreadsheet, and maybe they'll send a wire, maybe we'll send a check.
Yeah.
And just kind of hearing that just really made me want to push digital payment gateway even further. So hearing those manual processes in the background, hearing that sometimes they don't know the exact amount to send, and there's leakage in terms of just the settlement process, having something like a digital payment gateway where there's data, where that's going along with the payment. Can really help with just month-end closings.
Luis, I'm going to share an outside comment, and I always look for inspiration where you can get, pick up new topics, and I'm a firm believer in your expectations of what Luis goes when he gets services dictated by other organizations, right? When you go to one company, you've received experiences at another company that raise the bar, right? Or lower the bar, right? For every one of those types of experiences. And I was listening to this show the other day, a podcast episode, and they actually are starting to see implementations where people can now pay for podcasts or interactions through their podcast medium, or even like just watching a YouTube stream and just, I'm going to go ahead and pay for this particular episode just by a click of a button in that streamlined gateway payment. Or they can purchase products that the podcast is promoting through that medium as well. And I think that's the kind of, I don't call it it is innovation, but I think it's the type of experiences we have to get out there and explore, because that's where the true growth happens.
I think embedded payments are a fantastic way to make payments seamless, right? So in that kind of example, you have a user that's going through an experience, going through a journey. Maybe there's a marker that says now's a good time to serve up an ad for services, maybe merch, and just pop it up right then and there.
Right.
And with embedded payments, easily just make that payment. Something arrives at your home, or maybe it's a digital good, and you're all set. But having embedded payments into that customer journey is a huge win for the merchant.
We have just a couple minutes left, and I wanted to note too that CSG is serving the full experience from print, digital, and mail. Print and mail may seem kind of dated, but it's obviously a very important role. I mean, how do you see those channels evolving alongside digital?
Yeah, I mean, an example of that is checks, right? I mean, for years, people are saying checks are going away, and they're still here. They may have died down a little bit, but they're still here, and they're going to be here for a long time. So as much as we feel the shift to digital, we'll continue to see like evolution in print and mail solutions, where they're embedding QR codes to make a payment, maybe providing incentives for shifting to online payments. As a company with a strong print and mail business, we're here to kind of support that evolution and drive digital adoption when the time comes for each organization, based off their strategy and their roadmap.
Thank you. Right. And I guess if you had a piece of advice that you can give to organizations looking to modernize their payment strategy.
Yeah, I would say, start with the experience you want your end user, your customer to have. Then work backwards to the technology. It's tempting to chase, new features like wallets, real-time payments, AI fraud tools, and so on. But the organizations that really win are the ones that map the end-to-end consumer journey.
Beautiful. Yep.
How people are billed, for example, how people are sent reminders, how they're authenticated, how they're supported when something goes wrong.
Right.
From there, you can layer in the right capabilities like ACH account validation, name authentication, payments protection.ai for fraud. So modernizing doesn't just mean new tech. It means like a payment experience that's easier, safer, and more predictable for everyone.
Yeah. Well, one of the last questions I kind of want to wrap up with is, what's one thing that you would say you're most optimistic about with the next chapter of payments and partnerships?
Yeah, I'm really optimistic, and again, I love partnerships. I'm really optimistic about how much collaborative payments is becoming. Banks, tolling agencies, software platforms, backend providers, and fintechs like CSG are finally solving for risk, compliance, and really the customer experience. In tolling and beyond. That means, smarter like fraud and verification services for better journeys. So making the payment feel seamless and trusted, not a pain point.
That's great.
Thank you so much, Luis. You have brought a wealth of knowledge about payments, and it was such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely hope you have enjoyed your time with Luis as well. And we ask you to tune in again next time for another great episode from Toll Talk. But I'm going to sign off. I'm Alex Fakeri.
And I'm Kalie Jakovics.
Thanks for watching.